Hey man,
Hey, hello.
you can hear me?
Welcome to the stream. Yeah.
Thank you. Let me see. Alright, so I'll just open some stuff. There we go. Okay, you should be able to see my monitor right about now.
Yep, yep. I'll full screen it.
Okay. Okay, so how this works quite simply is I have some overall notes that is kind of what the overall stuff that we are gonna be focusing on today, and then we'll use your VOD or your replay as a little bit of an example piece, and then we'll take it from there. You just ask questions if there's any concerns or miscommunication or something that you're hesitant about or you think you might be misunderstanding. Right, it's easier to just clarify and build on what I'm saying. That way, it's a two-way communication, not me just having a lecture in front
Yeah.
of you. So then I can kind of feel out if I'm going too fast, too slow, whatever.
Yeah, I like
Okay.
that. Do you want me to take notes or is it more like I should just talk right now and I can take notes later? I can watch it back
Well,
later.
well, that's up to you. You're recording this, so that's completely up to you. Some people like to take notes, some people don't.
Yeah, I'll probably just
Because it's one session, information normally drops really fast. Like because there's so much to cover right now. You have a lot of stuff, so information will be dropping relatively quickly because I have to cut some stuff for time constraints.
Okay.
Um, so we'll just try to get through as much as possible. But I have some key cornerstones that I just want to get through today, and then we'll see
Cool.
what
Can I
happens.
tell you my opinion of the match or like what I think happened?
Sure.
So, the reason I sent you this one, this is the King's Row one, right? With the
Yeah, the King's Row one.
Yeah, okay. So the reason I sent you this one is because I feel like there was one or two players on the enemy team who kind of had my number, if you will. Like they kind of knew what I was going to do before I did it, and they slowly but surely ended up countering me in the end because I feel like I rolled them pretty hard. Like I feel like I did really well in the first half of the game, and then I don't know, I bought it out or something.
Hmm. I disagree with that. I think that you're feeding. That's why they're countering you. They're not really countering you. You just kind of like jump into them, and they're like, "Ooh, shiny big doomfist. Let's click on it,"
Okay,
because
cool.
there's no reason they shouldn't. And I think a lot of the rolling that it did in the beginning of the match looks like it's relatively luck that you didn't try to do. There's a lot of times where it might be you have 2000 IQ god game sense, and you just like, hey, and you just fuck them up. But a lot of it really looks like oh, there was a guy there. That's convenient.
Okay,
And
okay.
then you get the frag. That's what it looks like from the time.
And then one other thing I wanted to say was shit. Oh, it'll come to me.
Sure. Okay, so let's focus on so the overall stuff, which I will just list now. It's a lot, so I'll just list it. You have incredibly basic movement, which is not the best. You have pretty bad aim, well, bad mouse control, which translates to bad aim.
Hmm.
Your mechanics on Doomfist is okay, but not the way that you hit your primary fires and the fact that you never cancel your right clicks. And generally, the way that you do rollouts, it seems inconsistent as well. Your positioning is pretty off. Um, Also, the positioning that you force yourself into when you like have committed to a dive and you need to disengage the dive after a pick, you put yourself in really shitty spots, which
Yeah, I
normally
could
get you either
agree.
killed or normally put you really active. Well, takes you out of being active.
Yeah, I
You
remember
don't
the
all.
question. I remember the question now.
Yeah, sure.
You talked about activity on Genji. You were looking at a gold Genji, and you said like now you're AFK, now you're not being active, and I understand that concept. However, on Doomfist, using my hand cannon at like 20 meters away is not very effective, right? Like that's not a good way to stay active, right?
It depends.
Okay.
Depends on the trade up, right? If you're just like standing here, right, and just doing this, and it's also really good for HP checks, for pressure, right, generally harassment, pulls pressure off the enemy team. However, if they don't know that you're here, and for some reason, you pushing in here will just put a lot of attention on you that they don't want, because right this position you don't get healed because you're supposed to over here, so there's no way you get supported from this, and if you then get pressured, then you have to disengage this angle, and that kind of fucks everything up. So if you're like you're here and you're kind of waiting, of course don't shoot, don't give away a position because you want to do the rollout,
Right, right, right.
right? Then disengage back up. But if your team is anyway engaging this and pushing up and you're waiting for CDs, right? And there's no reason not to shoot, then fucking keep shooting, right? Build up a little bit more chits on your slam, get some HP checks, right? Get some pressure on, and
What's
then
an
see it from there.
HP check?
An HP check, you deal damage to just see their HP bar, so you know how low they are, right?
Oh,
So if
gotcha.
you right, so if you tag a tank and
Hmm.
you were like, I thought the tank was low, but then you see like the Zarya is like 100 health, and then you see like the 250 health, Reaper in the corner, then you might decide to take out the Zarya instead.
Right,
Or
right.
even, you see a 200 HP supporter, you see a 100 HP tank, right? You still fucking just kill the tank, and then you can rather chain it onto a support after that, right?
Right, right. Okay,
Instead
cool.
of doing the other way around, where the tank now will be fully healed and have a much more impact on the match, right? So an HP check is just getting that ding in.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. So yeah, your positioning stuff is off, especially your rotations after a dive, or like essentially where you put yourself,
Hmm.
which essentially gets a kill lot. You don't always animation cancel, and especially on your right click, which is really bad because it does that you're very slow and very clunky. So like you'll do this instead of just animation canceling like that.
Oh,
And now we're
I
on the
don't know
corner.
what that is. What's the difference?
What's the difference? You do it sometimes. You press space to cancel.
Oh, I have this problem, Jonal, where I'll be charging a punch on someone who's like a free punch, like around a corner or like in a choke or a doorway, and I will be an idiot and I'll push space and I'll cancel my own punch and end up like bouncing off of them.
Yeah, but you do know. I see you do this multiple times in the game, and it's like the bread and butter of a rollout, right? Without this tech, you can't do that.
Right, right.
So so if you press space, you get this, right? And you don't always do it. Like you will be stuck in a choke point, and you'll try to disengage, and you'll do this, and then run the rest. And at that point,
Okay,
it's like,
okay.
and at that point, it's like, why did you even charge this? Why when you can do that instead?
Right. Okay, cool.
And it takes 0.2 seconds, right? This is also the bread and butter on most of your rollout. So if you want to play a corner and there's a Kree behind statue, and at that point it's impossible to engage him because if you do this, he'll just kill you,
Right.
right? Then you can just do that, and then here, right, and then you get him. And
Perfect.
now I'll just do high ground, right? So my positioning is better.
So like a turn punch into a slam on his other
Yeah,
side.
right. Just cancel this, like Kree holding tight angle on your right. There's no way to push it, right? You can potentially do that. If you think that you can hit him here, but if he's playing back there, then there's no way
Yeah,
that I'll
plus you
get him,
don't know where he is. He
right?
could be further away.
So at that point, instead of doing that, also because he's probably locking my angle, so if I peek it, I'll get stunned and killed. So I'll turn there, right? And I'm much faster. So he will most likely miss whatever he was trying, unless he's in higher elos. They'll predict that, they'll hear this, and they'll know that he'll do it, and then he will predict that with his flash, and then you have to out predict that by uppercutting, and then it kind of becomes a whole thing,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like all the way until like you're playing mid to high diamond and above that, they don't predict a fast one, and that's also why you need to do it fast, right? You can't do this because then they might expect it,
Yeah, and
right?
then
So
he
you got to
walks
do
around
it
the corner and
fast,
flashes me. I'm
right?
dead. Yeah.
So then you have that. So you don't always do that, which is pretty bad. You also don't always do your animation cancel with the uppercut, where you do this, but sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
That one I thought it's ineffectual to the actual damage you deal.
Not really. You because comparatively, right? See how slow that is?
Oh, you're standing still longer. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right. This is so much. It's safer because I go faster up
Got
with
it,
a
got
little
it.
bit,
Okay.
so it's a little bit safer. If not, then you have to do this, and then you lose a shot, right?
Oh yeah, I
Which
lose shots a
is
lot.
right. If you do this, then you lose the shot, and if you wait on the ground to get the shot off, then you still need to like almost prime it for a second, and this is just a faster one.
Got it, got it.
It's just a faster version than having to manually do the click and then the uppercut.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the big one is you are relying on enemy team to being banned to get frags, and you are playing it like solo queue, not playing with your team. You don't care. You just solo engage and die, or solo engage, get frag, and then it didn't matter because your team wasn't spawn. And then
Yes.
so you're playing alone, so you don't have impact, and you're not being active because of it.
Hmm.
And you rarely do any setups, which is like 90% of a Doomfist play style. Well, not always. There's like three major style of a Doomfist, but majority of them, like at least two of them, still rely on a setup to be effective. And you don't do a setup; you just play here, and you just kind of jump around, wait for the enemy to come, and then you try to play off it, which
Yes.
is really bad.
True. Yes.
And a lot of time you'll do a setup, and you'll give the setup. So you'll be up here, and you'll be like, okay, cool, I'll do the setup, and then jump down, and then you play from here again. And it's
Yeah.
like, why didn't you engage? Why do I see you multiple times that you're up here, and you have this insane slam lined up, and then you do this instead in,
True.
in front of the enemy team, and it's just like, okay, what was the point of going up here? What was the point of doing this? Just to do that again, right? At that point, just fucking go in here and do that and do a lot of damage and then play from it.
Okay.
So that's your majority of your mistakes. Let's try to fix a couple of them that we can fix in the custom game. Number one is aim. So I recommend that you do 5
Kovac.
to 15 minutes of aim hero every day. Aim hero gives you mouse control. Mouse control is I have crosshair here, and I want to move crosshair there. How do I do that? Right? How do I get my arm to know how much do I need to move my arm to get it from here to there? That's mouse control. The fact that you can just move your crosshair or your mouse, your cursor, wherever you want, and your physical hand knows how to exactly push a mouse to move it exactly as much on the screen. Like getting that link in your head is, for example, why you can take pro players and they can turn up their sensitivity and turn down the sensitivity and they can still play really good, because the sensitivity stuff is just like translating it in your head, like knowing, okay, it's this fast, so I need to slow down my hand movements. But if you don't have mouse control, you can't move the mouse accurately. So it doesn't matter. You can predict people in the game, and you can know your sensitivity in and out, like how fast it is, but you'll move your hand too much or too little, and it doesn't matter how much you play the game without having good mouse control. And of course, playing the game will in the end give you good mouse control. But setting up an aim hero, an aim trainer, I use this. You can use Kovacs or whatever the fuck you want. I use aim hero because I always have. As I said, 5 to 15 minutes a day is like the minimum you should do. If you don't even have time to play Overwatch,
Oh, I have time.
just play 5 to 15. But just yeah, but like if there's a day, right? Like
Yeah.
everything is going to shits, right? I have this and that and this and that, right? 5 to 15 minutes a day. That's
Okay.
all you need. If you can play more than that, if you can play like half an hour or 45 minutes, normally I saw that you had two monitors
Yes, I do.
because you sent me that screenshot. So normally I watch, like you can see here, right? I watch something. So here I watch Critical Role, which is D&D stuff,
Okay.
right? So you watch that on the second monitor because this is boring as hell, and you do it slow. So you take your time to line up the shots. You make sure that you get like easily like no less than 80%. 80% that you're going too fast. You should like not try to get under 90% in your hit rate. If you're getting 90, 87, 92, then you're like perfectly pushing your limit without going too fast
Okay.
and not too slow. If you're getting 100% hit rate or like 99, then you're going way too slow. And if, well, not way too slow, then you're going a little bit too slow. And if you're getting like 80, 70, then you're going way too fast. And then you're missing.
Certainly.
Right?
I want a plateau.
We want good muscle memory, right? So we want to learn how to hit the shot. We don't want to learn how to miss the shot. Shooting fast is not difficult. Everybody can do this in a game. That's not difficult.
Yeah, I
The
do
difficult
that a
thing
lot,
is to
don't I? I shoot fast.
the difficulty is to line up the shot.
Okay.
And if you watch professional players, you'll even see them stop for a second, take the shot, and then move again. You'll see it a lot in professional McCree players, for example, like Undead, for example, which I work with on IU. Sometimes does that. Like there's difficult shots that needs to get landed, and it's like headshot across the map, and those need to get hit now. He'll hit, and then he'll start strafing again because it's a difficult shot. Like not even him can, right? And then he just hit everything, right?
Yeah.
So even pro players aim. Number two, to kind of get your mechanics up in the air, is to start the pre-aim. You do a lot of this. The enemy is not down here, so it doesn't matter. If somebody peeks me now, I need to do this, right? I need to aim high to hit them all the time. I need to kind of move and aim. So instead, I'll put my crosshair where I'm expecting them, right? So if I'm moving out of spawn here, which I'm on the wrong side to do, right? Then I'll start here and I'll put it on the side of the bus because that's where the enemy team will. And then I track this corner to this. And then
Yeah,
from here, I track statue,
yeah.
top here because there might be people there, right? And so on. And then I do that all the time. And notice also it's high up in the air because I want headshots. I don't want here because I don't want to shoot their toes. I want to shoot the head, right? And then you do this to clear the corner, and then you always do it. So it's always snapping to the corner of this, and you're always tracking that corner where you're assuming them to be.
Certainly.
Right?
Yeah.
Makes it easier. So when you do a rollout, well, when you push somebody, right, and you do this, then you just need to keep it here because you were already pre-aiming them instead of, instead of going here and then doing this, and then now you have to like adjust upwards because you need to hit the headshot.
Yes.
Right? Doing that a lot of time, you end up by shooting the ground before you actually hit them.
So my
you'll
crosshair discipline is really bad.
Yeah, right. And this is what most people don't do. Like, and you'll see some pro players that don't do it. Like some pro players are here and then you snap, and that's because they have the mechanics to do that. But it's you're making your life difficult.
Yeah,
for
it's
no
still
reason.
not a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like this is just easier. There's no reason not to pre-aim corners because it just makes your life easier to do it. It also makes you think about, where's the enemy, because you will instinctually start clearing corners, right? So you don't just run past a corner because you weren't paying attention and get stunned and killed, right?
Yes.
that's number one. That's just for mechanics. If you want to practice your doomfist mechanics, you of course just use nanobots. And again, you take it slow, but as always, right? So you practice your uppercuts with the follow-up shots and whatnot. Just run nanobots. Do you know how to set up nanobots?
Yeah.
Yeah, then you just set those up. Do whatever, 100, 200 kills, whatever you want to do, half an hour, however much you want to do. And again, you take it slow. So if you have to stand still in the beginning and line up the shots, you stand still and you line up the shots. Rather do slow practice in the beginning than try to mimic pros and then end up not learning anything.
Certainly.
Positioning. There is two types of positioning. There is general positioning and there is hero-specific positioning. Hero-specific is logically specific to each individual hero, but general is for everybody. Doesn't matter your role, doesn't matter who you're playing, it's general. And that is, we don't half-ass shit. And everybody loves to half-ass in Overwatch. So you, for example, you don't push here.
Yeah, I push to bus and then I push to wall or push
Yeah,
to,
right. Cover to cover, right? So you push here and then you're allowed to rotate to here. And then and this also goes hand in hand with the crosshair placement, right? Because now I'm clearing this, and now I'm clearing that, and now I'm clearing down, and now I'm clearing here, top, there, and now I'm here, right? And now I peeked the entire corner, and I cleared every corner, and I've cleared every spot, right? So now I can push the statue, and from statue I can push this wall, right? So I wouldn't even push like this. I would push here, right? Because I don't want to get peeked early, so I'm even pushing here, right? And that includes we don't stand here in between this wall, for example, which you do sometimes, and stand here and then go a little bit back and a little bit forward, and then like, what am I doing, right? You either stand here and you play this corner here, or you push all the way up and then you play this corner here, right? You do one of the two, you don't do the one in between. Same goes with your high ground control, right? You wouldn't.
So when you
high
say
ground's a
like
little bit difficult.
half-ass, I kind of go halfway to the right idea, but
Yeah,
I don't go all the way.
right, half-ass, right? So you do the in-between thing that you never commit to one of the points, and it's very, very common, right? You run down the mid, you stand in between the statue and this wall, because reasons, right? Instead of hugging instead of hugging the statue and then peeking as much as you feel like peeking at that point, and then pushing back into your cover as soon as you're done peeking that angle. Same goes with high ground control. You don't stand here. You stand here or you stand further up, right? Sometimes you will stand further back on the high ground because high ground's a little bit difficult, because sometimes you want to like deny a certain angle, like for example here, right? Sometimes you want to just deny LOS without like committing, so I'll go far back, right? But normally you always, for example, this one, you normally always stand close to this ledge because that way I can always just drop if I need to, right?
Certainly.
Compared, or I stand further up here, right? You rarely stand like in between here unless you're kind of going in, right? So never half-ass. That's general positioning. Doomfist has a little bit different things. With Doomfist, one of the main priorities that we're looking for is to get a good slam in. Most people focus on this when they play Doomfist, which is really bad, especially after nerf. This is his main priority. This is his main ability, and that's what you focus on. Especially, I don't recall if you want to play professionally, or if you just want to be high rank.
No, just high rank. I mean, professional would be cool, but you know, got to get high rank first.
Yeah. But in both, normally we look for slam, and that is like, it's the better option of the two, because of the high damage output you can get from a slam, not just single target, but also multi-target, and it's not easily countered. This is way more difficult to counter than this one, which takes 2 years and a half a decade to charge up, and you can get CC'd and dinged by 11 hit scan players before you even get it off, right? This is really powerful, still to use it. You need to line it up with walls. You need to play it in areas where walls are present, right? So punching somebody through a choke here does nothing unless you are for some reason CCing him away.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes you do it to push main tank players out to slow down a push, but there's a high chance you go into a stun anyway, so you normally will get hit, right? It's normally much better to line up one of these. So if you can play, for example, top here, right, and you can land a higher damage hit with this, then you can always use this to disengage it. So normally setups are played for setting up slams, and everything in between is normally, you want to use this in a certain situation, lining up frags, playing corners, denying an angle is really, really powerful, right? So if you are stuck on low ground, for example, denying this angle is really powerful, right? Because it bends out more than the counterpart on the left, right? So this is really powerful just to get up a free one tap or some bullshit like that. It's of course also your most powerful movement tool, because it can bounce off areas or objects. It can reach further. But normally when you're doing setups, you always look for slam setups because of damage output, single target, and multi-target. Imagine that you are a full team that is like a professional team quote unquote professional 2C stream, right?
Sure, sure, sure.
Professional, quote unquote, right? And they rotate statue and they want to engage, right? And then a Doomfist player just comes in and hits this one, and that's 100 damage plus the follow up with the uppercut, and that forced every single ability for the enemy team. The Zarya has to bubble somebody to not lose them. Moira has to pop fade, and majority of the players need to run whatever abilities they have to try to survive that one.
Okay.
Because if they don't, there's a high chance that Doomfist just fried one of you. You don't know who who got targeted, right? If it was the McCree, he better try to stun the Doomfist. If it was the Morris, he better try to fade. Because if not, then you get deleted. There's a high chance you force out Baptiste in Mortality Field. If they were playing with Orisa, she most likely fortifies herself, not to die, right? And then you bait it out every single ability by slamming into the enemy team because they don't know who you're targeting, right? And boom, you put 4 or 5 abilities out in the beginning of the team fight, and then your team pushes in and kill it. It was very, very common during Doomfist Reaper meta to just do that setup on King's Realm to just win most engagements.
Okay. All right. By the
Right?
way, are we going to be looking at that replay?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was just what's it called?
Overview.
Yeah, like overview, like giving you the background so that you can see your own mistakes.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Cool.
Again, this was the theory, and we'll continue with the theory. This is examples.
Okay.
Right?
Good.
We don't use VODs for theory. We use them for examples. We use them to find what is the weaknesses, what's the mistakes, what is going on here, what needs to get fixed, what needs to get addressed, and then we use these to kind of point those out. The theory is something completely different, and normally it needs to be done in a custom game or on Stepana. Right. So you're sitting here, and you don't want to take damage. You're so lucky that he didn't die there. And you slam, and you do this, and then for some reason you start kiting back here, for no reason.
I was disengaging from him. He was disengaging from me. I felt like there was no reason to chase.
But where are you playing? You're gonna play here, right?
Yeah.
Right. So why are you running stairs, right? No reason. Why you need to be up here. Your team is pushing, right?
Yeah.
You need to be ready to slam this.
Okay.
Right. So no reason to move further back here. You're going in here. You charge this. You were going for this one, and you hit this one. That's fucking lucky. I'm 100% sure you did not know he was there.
Well,
right? He just ended up lining up the crosshair.
I don't remember,
right?
But yeah.
Right. I'm pretty sure you went for the Pharaoh. Right, but that's fine. This position is really powerful. Here you go. You go here, and then you see this. This is your team. This is you. Meaning, yes, you can go for a frag now. That's completely fine, especially since you can see that these guys are clearly not paying attention to this split armor. So yes, exploit that. But you also need to remember you have absolutely no pressure, right?
So if these were better enemy players, if these players were actually good, right, GM level,
yeah,
what should I have done?
What you should have done? It's fine that you were playing here. However, it's not fine that you push all the way out to platform because the Pharaoh should kill you. If you did that, you should be playing inside.
Certainly, yeah, the Pharaoh should kill me because they're holding off my team.
Yeah, right. You have no pressure, which means, and this goes for everything. It also goes for like you say. As I understand, you play some Genji, right? It's the same theory behind like Dragon Blading. You don't want to Dragon Blade without pressure. I mean, you don't want to Dragon Blade where the enemy team is not engaged with your team because there's no reason they shouldn't turn on you.
Right. They have all the cooldowns in the world. They have all the attention resources to put on me.
And the last one is important, right? Because even gold players understand that I'm not shooting anybody. Why not shoot the one guy that's here, right?
Sure, yeah.
Right.
That's what you mean by feeding.
Right. In gold, they will your team engages and everybody will be like, haha, let's focus on these guys, and then their honor will get dived. And people like, but I'm shooting the guy in front of me. I'm not. The honor died. Okay, I didn't pay attention to that. Right, so, I was busy shooting big, nice Reinhardt. Right.
Right.
They focus on that. So you have pressure. It also forces in higher elos and in more pro meta, it forces the enemy team to not be able to turn. There's only so many players that can turn on you, and if they do, there's a chance, of course, of you dying. You cannot play that, but that relieves pressure on your main group, which allows them to be more aggressive, right? So it's scary because if they turn on you, there's a chance your main group will start winning, and if they don't turn on you, you get a free kill.
Yes.
Right. So you put them in this situation that doesn't. It's difficult for them to play from it, right? They deal with you, they might lose main. And some players can't, right? The Zarya, for example, can't, and the Ryan can't, right? Because they're trying to hold off your team, right? So some of the players can't even turn because if they do, they'll get shot by your team, right? So there's some players that can't even do anything, and they shouldn't have abilities, right? So this is fine, but you need to just look half a second to your left here and see these 4 dots, and Now you know there's nobody here to follow up, right? There's no reason you shouldn't get killed, right? So you're going for this, and that's fine. I would have liked if you'd like at least a check down here that nobody was paying attention, but it's fine. Your game sense is your game sense. You go up here, you uppercut, and then instead of rolling back to your team, you decide to go inside the room for no reason, right?
True, for no reason. Because
Right?
I didn't trust my team, I guess. Yeah.
But
I should have just.
it's nothing about trust. What are they gonna do if you land here? What are they gonna do about it? Right? They're gonna charge after you, right? If they push in, it doesn't matter how bad your team is. They can't just run after you.
Yeah.
Your team won't emote in front of them, right? They will still hit them, right? So there are, even in lower elos, there is still a certain amount of stuff that is just not possible to play from. And you disengaging solo into this room is okay. And now what? Now you're stuck running here, running all the way to the health pack. Take that, rotate top. Okay, and now we can play from top. And while this is going on, there's like 10, 20, 15 seconds where your team is trying to 5v5. And your team, if they're worse, which a lot of time they aren't ranked, they will lose. Yeah. Because you're not being active. You're busy rotating in a place that doesn't make sense. And that's without talking about the fact that you could have died here if somebody had even half-ass decent positioning, right? Number two, you didn't animation cancel through the doorway, so you get stuck in the doorway, right? This is nice. Good frag. Now you just need to continually stay active, right? Getting one frag and then you turning yourself unactive, right? Disabling yourself in the game doesn't help. This is stupid, right?
Yeah, it is stupid.
Right? Now your team is there. They should be trying to push here. Your Ryan is somehow here, right? There's all this kind of stuff going on. You should be out here punishing the rest of these guys.
Yeah, and that's just a right? Decision-making thing. Like I can't do anything from my current position, right?
Yeah. What are you gonna do about it, right? You had 125. You were chased by Ryan. You were denied the choke point. Okay, now you have to run here. Right now there's some fighting going on. Right, your Ryan just died. Well, they just killed your Reaper, right? You could potentially have stopped that from happening by killing their Rhine or backing up your Reaper, right? Or hell, maybe this guy could have died a little bit earlier, right? There's so many things that could have gone better here if you had been more active, and now you're busy rotating and busy rotating and busy rotating and focusing on this Pharaoh.
Sure. Yeah, as far as dog shit. I mean, if we're being honest, right?
You miss.
She's way too low, is what I mean. Like low to the ground.
Yeah, she'd never hit that low on the ground. Yeah, right. And then you do this, and this is also where I think that you're lucky because you didn't see the Moira. Right? You might have seen, right? You see this, but the target was the McCree. And again, you might have 2,500 IQ and know there was a Moira going to peek here, but you don't see her before you slam, which makes me think you were trying to slam the Cree.
Yes.
Because you don't see the Moira. And she just happens to walk out here. And there was no reason you should get this rank.
Yeah.
Because the Cree is here.
Yeah.
And you don't know if he has flash. And that's the worst part. For all you know, this guy has flashbang. You didn't see him burn it. So for all, and I'm 100% sure that nobody called that fucking shit in the voice chat. Because it's fucking gold. And they don't even do it in GM. Okay? So for all you know, this dude have flash. He doesn't. I don't know what he used it on, but he doesn't. Right?
But even without flash, he could easily kill me there.
Yeah. Well, easily, right? You slam the corner and then you play from corner, right? But yes, he could potentially kill you here, right? So this makes no sense, right? And you just decide to go in and slam it, right? Then you do this, which is actually pretty nice because you stun her, so she can't fade. And then you're stuck in this 1v1 and he's missing all his shots. And then you do this. Of all the things that you could do, right? You decide to run as far away from the hit scan player that you can, even though you're practically full health, and you have punch, and you're soon getting half slam, right? And you decide to disengage this. And I have no clue why I did it.
Oh, maybe because of like respawns. Maybe I thought like, I wasted enough time up here.
Yeah, but then you engage him once more. Now you engage him. So if you thought it was spawns, then this is feeding. Right?
Okay, good.
So for some reason you gave that space, even though you had your win condition, you had your shotgun up close, and you were getting your abilities back on, right? For Doomfist, it's about cycling your abilities, right? You have your punch, you have your slam, and you have your uppercuts, right? And when you cycle these in tantrum, so you use some of them, disengage, play a corner, back online, go again. Play it, hide for 3 seconds, back online, go again, right? That's how you play Doomfist. You try to cycle your abilities over and over and over again, right? That's why Doomfist is very difficult, because it's not just about disengaging a fight, it's about disengaging it in a way so you can immediately re-engage once more.
So I can be active, yeah.
Right?
Disengaging
to be active. So instead
of
flying forward, for example, here on first one, right? And I wound up in a custom game because it takes 8 years when you're on replay, right? Instead of, for example, slamming in and then playing a choke point and then landing on low ground and then memeing around on the low ground, you would engage, you would do your stuff, and then you would re-engage up into another high ground position, one of these, for example, and then you would re-engage once more with slam. And then you do your things, and then you disengage back up to high ground position, and then you repeat this. Right? That way, you go from a setup, you do your things, and then you disengage back up into setup. And then they push, and then you continually hammer them with high effective slams. Right?
Okay. Okay.
Now, sometimes you're forced into low ground position, then you just need to play from that, right? But here, all you need to do was play a tiny bit closer, right? You just need to hold this corner. This is great. Nice. Get the frag. This dude. Okay. You have 300 shield and you should win this if you didn't miss all your shots, right? But then you just play this angle, right? You going further back, it doesn't help. If he decides to just strafe more out to the side, it doesn't matter that you were disengaging this way, right? 1 second, you roll in and you fucking punch him, and then he dies, right? Instead you do this, you allow him to get good distance, build up his cooldowns, and then you get him with 30 health. You pick up this, and then for some reason you charge the punch here. And I don't know if you were thinking that you might maybe we're gonna get chased.
Yeah, I thought they were chasing me. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, if you're over there chasing you, this is completely fine. You're just defending your own corner. Then you should cancel this.
I
right?
see. Yeah.
So you don't fly out here when there's nothing to hit.
Yes.
Right? Because now you put yourself between a rock and a hard plate. You cancel this and then you rotate, for example. You rotate top and then you play from top, right? And while your rotate is getting done, you can play here, build up your punch again, then you can fly back out if you need to.
Okay.
Right? And once more, you want to know what's going on here, right? So you want to know this is going on, because then you could back it, right? You could back this. There's two people pushing to spawn. Okay, great. Let's try to see. Maybe you can help your team with something.
Yeah, I'm not helping them at all right now.
Right? Instead, you do this and you end up getting, dying to the Pharaoh. Pharaohs are really difficult. Like, the enemy team is playing a team composition that is not really easy to play against, because there's very few targets that's easily dived here.
Oh, that's my life in a nutshell. They're always playing comps that are difficult for me to punish.
So you gotta outplay this guy's stun, and then you gotta outplay the Rhine. Really, he's like an easy bullet target, and wait for. Then you just. There's another thing. Well, let's just finish team comp. You gotta dodge this guy's stun. Yeah. Then it's a pretty easy target. Right, and normally gold, plat, like mid, high diamond, pretty easy to deal with as long as they don't keep their distance. Right? You can bullet the living shit out of this guy because it doesn't have a Zarya, right? And you can really just bully him. Just punch him into walls, uppercut him, just like don't let him play the game. They don't have tank, you win, right?
Okay.
You can't do shit about the ball.
Can't do shit about the ball, yes.
Yeah, he will be flying around doing his stuff. He's difficult to deal with. There's some stuff that you can do. You can CC him and do some stuff with him. But he's not a main priority, right? You want easiest kill, right?
Right.
If you
it feels like a waste of my abilities to use them on him.
Right. So your priorities as a player, but mainly as a DPS, right, is you want the easiest skill. That's priority number one. So you always kind of want to be in scenarios where you can be able to follow up. For you, that's not only hitting slams, sometimes hitting punches, but a lot of time hitting slams, right? And then locate the easiest skill, right? If there's a 10 HP hog, I can't spell. If there's a 10 HP hog or a 200 HP sen, you kill the fucking hog, right? You don't kill the sen. The sen takes longer time. If there is a Rhine that's getting beat up by your team,
you kill the Rhine.
Or an Ana that's like over here, or their Rhine is getting beat up by your team, you help your team beat up the Rhine. You don't ignore your team and go and kill the Ana. Sometimes, again, there's exceptions to these rules, but the whole point is you want the easiest frag because you want to start stacking kills.
Numbers advantage, right? Yeah.
Right. If you can't get this, then you normally want to look for damage. That's a little bit difficult for a Doomfist player to do. A lot of time that goes on setting up, so we are preparing to deal a lot of damage. But doing primary fires in between there is necessary and pretty nice. It's a little bit difficult to deal damage with Doomfist without committing to try to get frags, right? Because you're so much in there by using your abilities. And then the normal one is that you want shield break, and you want to help with shield break, but again, because you're so ability heavy, as a Doomfist player, there's not a lot of times that we are going to be in a position where that's helpful.
Yeah.
That much. It's really just while we are waiting, we'll shoot shields, right?
Yes.
This is normally a priority list, but for a Doomfist player, that normally means you want the easy kill, and then outside of that, you want to do setups, right? So you want to make sure that you can set up and get good slams, good engages, stuff like that. Reach the target that you want to kill, stuff like that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Some of the Doomfist OTP conversations, there's a few things they say. One, drop punch is really good. Anytime your team is playing in a doorway, just drop punch them. It's like meaning drop from high ground and charge punch.
Yeah, it can be good.
And then secondly, whenever you have ult, just go balls to the wall. Just go as deep as possible. And I think you might disagree with that second part.
Well, it's a context thing.
Sure.
Because it depends exactly on what they mean by go balls to the walls. It depends on the mechanics of the individual player, and it depends on what the fuck you mean by go balls to the walls. That does not mean run after the Lucio in the backline of the enemy team, right?
Yeah, don't
But
just turn off your brain and start using all your abilities. Yeah.
But a lot of time, yes, if you have ult, you can play far more aggressive, and a lot of time you should, because you want to go in there and you want to force them to fall back, and it's also less. It's also more for higher elo games. In higher elo games, you can force certain reactions out of players by going deep in, because you know that the enemy team will fall back and try to peel in certain situations. In lower elos, what the enemy team will do is really a coin toss at times.
Yeah.
But yes, playing far more aggressive with your ultimate is smart, because you want to at that point go for a little bit more risky plays where you hopefully can get some frags, and then you can just either ult out or continue the chain by ulting.
Yeah.
So yes, you a lot of time want to play more aggressive. Yes, with an ultimate. Did that answer your questions?
Yeah, I think a key concept that I'm realizing from you is that, like you were saying at the beginning, a lot of people like to half-ass everything in Overwatch. Like for instance, like right here, when I'm peeking this corner, like I'm not pre-aiming on that far. I'm not pre-aiming like at a good area. I'm kind of just looking at the statue and the guy really far away that it'll take no damage.
Right, but right now it's kind of fine, right? Because you're at least clearing this corner as much as you can, right? The issue with this one is, one, you're kind of in the middle of everything. You could position to one of the two. I think you were maybe rotating close to this wall. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do here. Yeah.
Right. But number two, this is the issue with it, right? And then you stand still, right? Instead of playing one of your corners, right? So this happens. And then that's most of your health, right? And now you're low, and now you're for salt, right?
That was a
which
dumb
could have been
ult,
avoided by you just like actually strafing, right?
Yes.
Instead of you being slightly cocky and being like, she will never turn on me, and then, right? Maybe jumping that far is a little bit bad. Okay, so you're coming back in. Okay, you're Ryan engaged. You are a little bit late here. That's because you died. That's the point of being staggered, which kind of sucks. You're going to do this, which is fine. You're going to uppercut. Sure, the emo field, right? You might want to disengage this. You might want to disengage this. You are re-engaging this, and you die, right? And now you're stuck here again. And what are you going to do from this position?
Nothing. This is a common thread in my play, isn't it?
Yeah, right? What are you going to do here, right? Nothing, right? And again, yes, your team low-key fed. That's also why we would have liked you to stay alive longer, because you could potentially have followed up on that Ryan charge much earlier, right? But at this point, you should just cut your losses. You got a frag? Great. Let's play from this, right? Where's my team? My team is like way over here. Okay, let's see. Maybe we can play from this position, and maybe we can do something for our team. If this is lost, it's lost, right? But you committing in here when it's very clear that, you can't kill this guy, right? He's getting pocketed, his ass out of him, and then you decide to re-engage even after your Reaper clearly disengaged your left side.
It's
bad, right? And then re-engage, right? And now you feed. Right? And the problem is now you're inactive again. So
Oh, I'm having difficulty hearing you. Do you want to restart the call?
With the ball.
Hello?
Right? Maybe you could just
Jonal?
have survived and done a setup. Right?
Jonal?
So yeah?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm having trouble with the quality. It's like kind of lagging a little bit.
Let's see.
Should I restart the stream? Restart the testing?
This is up?
Yeah.
Yeah. You just need to swap the server on Discord. If you sit on one for too long, they'll just cut your connection. So I'd move us to US Central.
Okay.
Instead of US West. Now you're kind of running around here. Bam, you take the Mega. As well as this, you should be able to clear some of these corners, right? With your crosshair.
Yeah, I'm being lazy, basically. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, now it took a lot of damage, right? Now there's somebody stairs. On top of that, you could crouch walk here so you don't get spotted, right? There might be a guy, on your right side now, ready to flashbang you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You might camp in
And
this
I'm
high ground.
clearing the wrong corner first, right? Like I should have
Yeah,
cleared right before clearing left.
yeah. You should generally just have cleared anything, right? You were kind of just looking at the ground and kind of walking around, right?
Yeah.
Now you're doing here, and then you decide to engage this, which is very ballsy because your team is not pushing yet. And at this point, he's this low. Somehow, he's this low. And
Right.
I'm
He
not
has cover. He's with his team. There's no reason
Yeah,
for him to be
right.
this
And
low.
there's no pressure, but you were in a really good spot. You were like here. You were ready. Okay. Again, there was a creek on the right side that you didn't see, but you were actually in a pretty good spot,
Should I have
right?
waited there on that corner?
You could have waited here, right? You could have waited. You didn't need to wait in the corner. You could either wait in the corner. Or you could wait in the stairs, right? One of the two,
Okay.
right? And you could kind of look, and you could kind of like scour a little bit what's going on, and see if there was something that you maybe could kill, right? Now this is fine if you decide to disengage this, right? So you go in, you get this frag, and then you fly out here. Okay, sure, you got a kill. I have no clue why he was that low when his mirror was right with him. I don't know. It's gold. Sure. Right. You go hotel here, and then you kind of get.
Well, I
You are
saw
here
more
now.
and no fade
Sure.
there, so I probably go for her.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's fine. Except you miss shots. You get this frag. You go in. You didn't need to jump into this guy. You could have played your corner, right? You could just play the position, wait for cooldowns, and then continue to move, right? This is fine. Stop, right? You don't need to push this guy anymore. You don't have abilities. You have a shield up.
Well,
No way you contribute into this frag.
what
All you
corner
did
would you
just ruin the
play?
finish. You just play back here, right? For two reasons. One, you have some form of cover by playing in this angle. Three, you're not stacking your entire team, so you won't take that much damage. And four, have I said 3 points?
It's okay. So for there, I should have been shooting
Yeah.
the Pharah.
Yeah, you should be shooting the far, and you should just wait out your abilities and bring it, right? You pushing into that Ryan didn't get you anything, right? You just ruined your positioning. You just went out away from all cover to go all the way up here for no reason,
Yes.
right? The Ryan was shielding himself in a corner. Like, what are you? You don't have a. If you had abilities and you were like, I need to finish this guy fast, and just like punch them, sure, but you didn't. You just W into him and shooting in a straight line,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right. And second of all, you just lost all the overview of the game, right?
Yeah, I can't see
So
anything. Yeah.
a lot of time with Doomfist, we like, and for a lot of DPSs and for a lot of tanks as well, but we'll focus on Doomfist right now. We like to play on the side of our team and play around our team. We don't like to stack in main for a lot of reasons. Number one, we don't like to take all the ridiculous spam damage that my main tank take.
Yeah.
So when my Ryan want to push this choke point, everybody on the enemy team is going to drop everything they have this way because there's fucking 5 players here. I don't want to be there. I want to be somewhere else.
Correct,
Because
yeah.
I don't want them to damage me while I'm going to engage, and I don't want them to see my engage in a straight line towards them, right? A lot of time we like high grounds because then we can slam for free, right, with high damage. Sometimes we can't get high grounds. Then we still like to like come in punching from a different angle, right? You still want to play around your team,
Yeah,
right?
like an
Because
off
as you have
angle, yeah.
seen, you are garbage on Doomfist if you play in the backline of them enemy team, right? There's some position that can be really nice if you play high elo and you're really smart about it, right? And you do these like hidden setups behind and you slam and you get a bunch of frags, right? But a lot of time you'll end up spending a lot of time running around to get to the position that you want instead of being active with your team,
Correct. Yeah.
right?
That's
And
my
it's
main
so easy
problem.
to
Yeah.
bully a Doomfist if they can get you at range, right?
Yes,
It's
it
so
is.
easy to chase you in a backline when you can't get support from healers.
Yes,
right?
it is.
So again, it's much easier for a Doomfist to engage onto them. If they engage onto you and they can play what they want, they can keep you at distance. And if you have to force your abilities to run away, you will never be able to re-engage onto them because you're just running,
Yes.
right? So you normally want to position yourself around stuff. And by off-angling like this, number one, it will help you deal more damage, have more setups, right? And generally be more effective and also take less attention to yourself. But it will also give you an overview of the battlefield. So you will actually know what the fuck is going on because you're not inside of here only being able to see this.
Yes.
You're playing like further over here or even better, up top, and you can see like this. So you know what is going on. You know who is low. You know who your team is targeting. You know who is disengaging what. You might spot abilities that's getting popped out. And from here, you can reach everyone. So if there's somebody low there, you can reach them. Meaning your priority number one, which is being able to kill the easiest guy on the map, is now enabled. Because you can actually reach everybody on the fucking map that's in this fight. Doesn't matter who they are or where they are, you can reach them as long as you have abilities. You can just punch your way over here and slam combo them, right? If you need to. Which is really good. right? This Pharah was not trying to kill you. She was just shooting at the 2 tanks that were stacked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right? Nothing to do with you. Just Pharah just not being dumb and decided to shoot the entire enemy team. Right? You're playing here now. You want to go up, take maybe some space. I'm not sure if you wanted to do that.
Yes, I did.
Okay, then this is completely cool. Nice rollout. You decide to engage this, and this is where we're talking about going balls to the walls. You didn't go balls to the walls. You tried to do something fancy onto the Pharah, and then you're continuing in with your ultimate. And again, there's no reason they shouldn't commit to you now, because there's nobody keeping pressure. Because your team is here, and even if you get a bunch of frag here, let's say you get 2 kills, then what? The enemy team disengages, they get respawns, and then they contest you. Right? You have space here to here already. You don't need to push them anymore. Like, you can get frags and staggers, and that's great, but it doesn't stop them from contesting you here anyway.
Yeah, I shouldn't have committed ult there.
Yeah.
I should have said, I tried on the Pharah. That was a nice try.
You tried it on the
Let's get
Pharah.
out.
You tried on the Pharah. I disengage here. My team is here, and then I'll see what happens.
Would you play that corner, or would you go up to where the McCree usually stands, up there, top right?
Here?
Yeah. Would you play up there?
You can play up here. It depends, right? The issue with Pharah being on the map, now this Pharah's pretty bad, so she doesn't punish you, is that Pharahs can chase you off most high grounds, right? But normally, yes, if you can get here for free especially without them keeping pressure on you, this is really great, right? Because again, in this position, you can help anything in main, right? So you gotta ask yourself the same question again. I'm here. I can reach anywhere. I can reach all the way over here if I want to all the way over here. Okay. As long as they're not hiding over here, I can still dive them pretty easily with a Doomfist. I have a little bit of altitude, so my slams are pretty effective, right? I don't need to uppercut to get my slam off or bounce off a wall with my rocket. I can just E from high ground.
Yeah.
And I get it off for free, right? So you're in a pretty good spot here. You just need to walk. And again, if you get pressured, you can normally just disengage back to your team. You just need to make sure that stuff like, you don't get flying from stairs and that the Pharah doesn't fly over roof and start bombing you, right? That's the thing that you need to take into consideration, but this can be a really nice spot, especially if you play it back here, for example, or up close here. Then this can be a really nice spot.
Okay.
To play from. Right? If not,
yeah, I think I remember when I was watching, when I was playing this live, I remember saying, fuck, I shouldn't have used my ult there. I just should not have.
You can think about it as there's 3 plays a way of playing a Doomfist. There's fishing, there's setups, and then there's rollouts. So rollouts is normally committing abilities to, you normally take a setup and then you commit abilities to actually engage on the target. Setups are normally where you can say that you do setups to do rollouts, and it's this terminology, but an easy way to break it down is that when you're doing a setup, you don't have to do the rollout necessarily to get value. So for example, just setting up here, ready to slam.
That's a setup.
You don't need to commit with the rocket, right? And then from the setup, you can play with the rollout. So you can rocket punch yourself around to reach here and then hit the slam. Then you did a rollout, right? But you don't have to, because you can reach, if there's a Zenyatta here, then you can just go from him without having to commit your punch. So you don't have to commit any resources to engage this target, right? And you could do fishing. And fishing is what you normally are forced to if you are not allowed to do a setup, or you don't have time, or you got pushed off your initial position.
Or if they're playing like Far Echo.
Yeah, they're playing Far Echo or some bullshit like that, right? The really good Doomfist players can still normally do rollouts because they can bounce off they can bounce off everything, practically, right? They're so good at the rollouts, they can bounce off your mom's left shoe, right? Because they just can't somehow.
Yeah, and then they go into the air and they actually
and then they can go in,
then
they can still reach, here if they are stuck here because they can bounce off the payload, right? So they can normally still do rollouts, but
they're still not doing it blindly, right? That's the biggest difference.
Blindly. They know their targets. They know where they want to hit. They know where the enemy team is. And there's normally some form of pressure being applied.
Yeah.
Right? Because they normally commit with their right click. So they don't... When they're done with the target, there's normally a second or two where they don't have abilities. Right? So they need some pressure to keep them off them.
Yeah.
Right?
So that they
normally you'll see a front line here, some DPSs, and then you'll see the support, and then they go for the support. Right? So this front line is not stacked in one big clunch. Right?
Gotcha.
But if you can't do rollouts, either because there's no way of doing it or because you mechanically can't, then you do fishing. And fishing is standing inside main and normally charging right clicks and just trying to punch people into a wall. And that's fishing. So normally if you're not being able to do it, then you can play that play style.
Yeah,
and you can combo that as you want. Yeah, that's normally called fishing. very, very, very common in, doing the Reaper Doomfist meta. A lot of teams like to do fishing because it was very difficult for some players to do rollouts, right? So here you slam, then you force disengage. You do actually get out. You get bubbled. You still play this angle with 100 health, which is ballsy at best. No real reason to do this. I don't know why you're doing it.
I guess I don't know where else to go.
Because you could just stand here, right? Like, unless you're somehow planning on doing something really aggressive from this angle, because you're off angling, right? The pressure will be this corner, right? Because of the angle. So you're off angling at this point. It's a very, not a far off angle, but it's an off angle, right?
Okay.
Which is relatively effective, right? But you need to have some reason to actually do this one.
Well, I'm
right?
looking to punch anybody who walks like around that corner because the rain shield is a little too far out.
Sure. If that's your thing, then sure. But just remember that if the enemy team push now, which there's not really any reason they shouldn't, they peek you and you die because you're 100 health, right?
Okay.
And you don't have a shield in here.
And I'm pre-charging shoot, so they know in a few seconds they can peek that angle if they're good.
Not just recharging shoot, right? Your shoot is not scary. You don't have punch.
Punch. That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Right. So you could be at peak there and die, right? Now you re-engage this, but you don't line it up with a wall, so you got no value out of this.
Okay, yeah.
You uppercut, and then you slam out a little bit slow, but sure, right? You need to watch out for that because you didn't know what this guy is. In higher levels, you might get punished from that engage. Are you trying? You're gonna bounce up. Oh, yeah, actually, yeah. You managed to do this one. Should have died here. You disengage this angle. You land down here. I don't know if you meant to land down there. If you meant to land on the corner.
I meant to land down there. Do you think I should have stayed on the corner?
No, it's fine. You could. It depends if you knew that then the McCree was gonna disengage or not. Depend if you knew that was going to happen.
Fucked up my
Now you're struggling to get up a little bit, which, whatever. And this is what I'm talking about, right? Your team is here now, right? You saw I pushed this far up, right? But you were busy standing here and trying to jump up on this platform, right?
Yeah.
And now you're focusing on chasing this McCree, but what are you stopping him from fighting?
Right. I'm stopping it from
instead of being
team,
up with your team and fucking chain killing these two players, and then all of you can turn on the Kree after.
Good point. Yeah.
Right. So here you're not being active again, right? And you are still not playing with your team, right?
And also not pushing the payload at all.
Yeah. So if you go back to this entire endeavor, this is maybe a little bit too far.
Yeah. The part where I punched the Rhine and then uppercut.
No. Yeah. Well, from about sure here. I lost you. Yeah. Here you try to kill the Pharah, and from now on, you're not going to play with your team or help them in any way, shape, or form. Here you solo engage with the ulti. You get shit. Disengage, right? For example, now your team could have punished the fact that Mario doesn't have fade, but you can't. Then you're stuck here. You solo punch the Ryan again. Your team is still not engaging. You disengage this because you're forced to by your own engagement, right? Okay, there's a Kree top. You want to do something on him. You actually don't. Yeah, you go here. He somehow misses that shot. You get out. Now your team is engaging. Now you're busy standing here instead of getting healed from your supports. You're still busy doing nothing. You look for this. You go in. Great. Then you disengage it. Okay. And now you're running away from your team again. You decide to try to do the setup. You fuck up the setup. And now you're kind of standing here for a long time. And while this, your team is fighting. Then you hear the Kree, and now you're chasing the Kree. Yeah, and he should hear these footsteps and turn around and flashbang you because you're not crouching.
Yeah.
Right? So you're not doing anything. You're just kind of memeing around playing TDM, right?
What's TDM?
That's it. Team deathmatch.
Oh, yeah.
Right, you're focusing on frags, you're not focusing on actually winning team fights, right? You're just trying to get kills and hope those teams translate into kills. Well, into one team fight, right?
Correct, yeah.
But a lot of time you will either not get the kill because there's no pressure, or you'll get a kill and there's no reason to, or you will engage and they just disengage you. You might sometimes feed, and a lot of time you'll just end up putting yourself out of action because of the position you force yourself into.
Yes.
Right? And then when they actually need you to engage, stuff like this. Why are you not in the choke right now doing anything here? Right?
I don't know. I guess I was only looking for a slam.
It looks
on
like you're trying
healer.
to spawn. It looks like you're trying to spawn camp. Because you're looking at the spawn.
I'm not trying to spawn camp. I'm trying to get their backline.
Okay. Because the backline is like here, and the tanks is pushed up, and your team is engaging them, and for some reason you're not there helping them, and you're gonna stand here.
Do you think I should have slammed on that sleeping ball and then uppercut him and punch him into my team?
For example, you could do something with the ball. You can at least be active and look what is going on at this situation, right? So at least you know what's going on. You're just standing on the side when you have no clue what's going on. You
I
just know
guess
your team is there.
I'm worried because of how far back my team is. This is my thought process, okay? So my team is so far back that
They're not far back.
if I peek that little like corner on this high ground here, I feel like McCree will shoot me in the face.
Okay, and you get healed from here, and then what?
Oh, okay.
He does 140 headshots at max, right? And it's gold. What does he got? He doesn't aimbot, right? So, okay, let's say that worst case scenario, he dings you. Great. You're down to only 110 health, right? Which is almost as much as like a tracer, right?
Okay.
And then you get healed from this angle, and then you get again.
Okay.
And what is he gonna do? You hold the S key, and then you get healed, and then you pick it again.
Yeah.
Right? And again, this guy, why should he be pre-aiming this corner the rest of the game, right? He's not doing that. Imagine that you just McCree. You heard a Doom, you know that you might know that the Doom is high. You're not locking this angle the rest of the game, right? Because you have no clue where or when he's peeking. You're shooting these guys.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
You're not aiming here, you're shooting these guys. And then when the Doomfist starts peeking and starts shooting at you, then you start aiming up here, and then he disengages the corner again. And you can't hold this angle forever, because then your team pushes in. Or the enemy team starts pushing for free. So then you aim back down here. And then he peeks you again. And then you need to aim up and then
yeah,
so on and
I
so
got super lucky that this Pharah didn't clear my corner, right?
Well, and even if this Pharah engaged you, right, and you were out here, right, you just fucking rocket punch yourself back to your team, right? Worst case scenario, right? That's worst case scenario. But yeah, she's a big bot, and fucking let's hide there, right? What is the worst thing that could happen? Here you could also re-engage back up to your corner, by the way. So you could have played that position instead of disengaging this far back, right? So that way you could have been up here, and just now you could have been shooting or potentially setting up a slam here, right?
Okay, yeah. I could even punish the Ryan for being so far forward.
Yeah, right? And again, it's about this Ryan likes to feed a lot by charging into the enemy team for absolutely no fucking reason, right? So at least if you're in a position where you can, again, attack the enemy team, then at least you can capitalize on his feed. So he engages, and you come with like 125 fucking slam on top of whoever the fuck he just pinned, right? And he does a hammer swing on top of it, right? That's 75, right? We are at a cool like 200 damage at this point, right? In that engage combo. And that's without your uppercut and without your primary coverage,
yeah, without,
right? So if
missing all shots, yeah.
If he hits this motherfucker with his hammer once and you hit him with a slam, you're pretty good, right? So if you had been at if you had disengaged, you kill the Pharah, and then you slam back to your high ground, and then you can play from this high ground.
Slam back to my Pharah. High ground, yeah.
Yeah, and then from here, and you can shoot down while you're waiting for CDs, and as soon as your CDs out, you can engage if you want to, right? And you have the option, and this is the point of these positions. You have the option to engage. You also have the option to not engage. You can choose. But it's much better than playing here, where you don't have the option to do shit, except punching straight at the enemy team, right?
Well, that's why I don't punch back to my team, because I'm worried that I won't have the option to do anything.
But you did punch back to the team.
I did?
Right? There's a difference. This looks like from like a fucking anime. There's a difference between engaging and flying into hotel and not being what can you do from hotel, right? You can jump forward and back like this. You can't engage in a target from hotel. If your team engages,
though. Yeah. You're
your team engages and you're stuck here, doesn't matter, right? You didn't gain anything. If you had engaged and flew back up to high ground, different story. Now you can do stuff. But you disengaged into hotel of all positions. This is only used for rotations. Like nobody fights, and sometimes you can play bunker from it, right? You can play inside hotel, but nobody runs inside hotel to be active, right?
Okay.
Unless you for some reason flanking, right? Difference between doing that and engaging here, engaging, and then engaging back up here and going here. These two are different things. Now you went back to the team and you can't attack the enemy team, which is there. So now you can't do shit. Even if an opportunity arises, even if somebody is 1 health and you can just look at them, you can't kill them. Doesn't matter. Your position doesn't do shit, right?
Yeah.
If you had flown, I don't know, flew back like up here, right? And you said, oh, I don't want to go back to my team. That's a different story. Now you can't do shit anyway. And now it's even worse because you're even further away, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a difference between these two positions. Here you go back to a valuable position. Here you're putting yourself out of the game, right?
Yeah.
So here you go back to your team so you can re-engage or go to high ground. Here you go back to this high ground so you can actually re-engage. Make sense?
Yeah.
bum.
So just uppercut there and then eat a high ground?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you slammed because you heard the Hammond slam, or if you slammed because you saw Ryan engaging. Not sure. You missed this.
No,
Pretty nice.
I was trying. I just felt like I was in the air too long. That's all. Like after I killed the Pharah, I thought I could get killed by that McCree, so I slammed preemptively.
Oh, no, I meant the ult.
Oh.
I know if you ulted because you saw a Ryan engage and you want to follow and you couldn't, well, you can with the
Yes.
punch, but you don't. Or if you ulted because you were scared of the Hammond slam.
Nope.
I'm not sure which one.
I'm not scared of Hammond Slam. No.
Okay. You go in here, you hit this. Yeah. This is fine. Now you gotta think, right? If you push forward now and you get pushed, you're kind of in a bad spot here. If you push
Yeah, I
forward
didn't
now,
realize my
however,
Rhine was
and you
dead.
don't get pushed, right? If you push forward now and you don't get pushed, fine, right? But that's the change now, right? You're running out here, you're now leaving all cover, everything, to try to push up to this next corner. You can play from that if you want to, right? But just so you know, the options that you have, right? You can disengage to the left, you can disengage, you can push in main, or you can disengage back. And which one you do depends on what your agenda is. You want to play aggressive, so you're going to be pushing straight in, which is fine. You see this guy, he fades. The enemy team has already been pushing into a team, right? And a lot of this could have been prevented if you just played your high ground. You had potentially been able to assess the situation and either followed up on your Ryan pin and hopefully gotten some frags, or disengaged and help the team so they didn't get pushed too hard, right?
Okay. And
Instead,
if
you ulted, slammed, and then you chased the kill into horseshoe, and then you were playing from there.
if a fight is completely lost, like I notice, like I'm not gonna get any frags, and my main tank and Reaper died. Um, should I A, jump off the map, B, int for ult charge, or C, just retreat and try to regroup with my team?
Depends on the situation. If it's 2CP and you have the point, well, not 2CP, the King of the Hill, and you have the point, or for some reason, you're playing an objective where you stalling for time is nice.
Valuable, yeah.
Then play time. If you're playing, if you are on a point where it's the opposite, that they are holding the point now and you're just wasting time, then please kill yourself. If you have ult charge that you can get, then get the ult charge. Normally jumping face front into a tank and start shooting him normally gets you killed pretty quickly. So then you trade ult charge instead of jumping off the map for no reason, right? Normally you can trade more ult charge that they will get from killing you, right? By just hitting a couple of combos. So it depends on the situation,
Okay.
right? Normally, luckily, they don't stagger Doomfist players. Right? Here you should get killed by the cream. Right? There's no reason you shouldn't. Right? You're just slamming in front of him. You're playing this angle here.
But I
The
can't
Hammond
see
goes
anything,
in. I'm not sure if you tried to punch the Hammond or what you were trying to do.
Well, I noticed his ult, and I knew I had to get away from his ult.
Okay, because you preemptively slammed. You charged before the Hammond came here, right? So I'm not sure. Like, this. Okay, why were you in this position?
I don't remember.
Right. And then you stand here, and then you see the Hammond fly past you, and then I see you charge and do this. So I'm assuming you're trying to punch him.
No, I'm not.
You're not?
I don't think I'm trying to punch the Hammond. I think I'm trying to like turn punch around or something, or go to high ground.
Okay.
Or maybe I would have. Oh, I would have punched him if he pile drivered, but he didn't pile driver. Or I was.
Well, he does pile drive. He just mines first.
Okay. I
Right.
think the mines made me rethink my idea. Like I was gonna punch
Yeah.
the Hammond, but then when I saw the mines, I was
Yeah.
like, I need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So you fly here. Okay, this is kind of fine. And then you don't slam this Rhine. Even though you actually had some pretty good damage here that you could have done. Sure. Then you instead do a flat slam and do no damage. Also, this slam is super slow, so you just peek this thing. And you didn't know who was there, so for all you know, this was a McCree instead, and he just stunned you and killed you. Right?
Well, that's why I didn't slam in the first place, but then I slam anyways, so.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't slam on the Rhine earlier is because I didn't know what was around that corner and I didn't want to get insta-killed.
Okay. And instead you slammed flat right after.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you most likely wouldn't get insta-killed if you just come flying in really quick and you land here and then you just disengage behind your Rhine shield, right?
Sure, okay, yeah.
Difference, right? But here you stood here for a little bit and then you kind of went in front here. You're picking this gap and then your Ryan is there, and now that you don't have cover, right? Difference in where you would land. You would land here, you hit your combo, and then you disengage behind the Ryan shield, compared to landing here and then peeking this angle, and I'm kind of stuck here in animation.
What would you have
Right?
done if you like punch away from that Hammond?
Punch away from the Hammond? What I would do, well, I don't really play that much Doomfist myself anymore, unfortunately, so I would not play Doomfist in this scenario, because I would probably be playing Kree or some bullshit, because I'm not fucking playing Doomfist against a Pharah anymore. I'm tired of that shit after nerf. But I would most likely, I would most likely fly in, hit the combo, uppercut, and then disengage back. And then I would try to take this high ground.
Okay.
There's also a pretty big chance that I would just have flown out here and then just slam my way up to this high ground and play it from here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Those are
some ideas I had. Yeah.
The two, but I would never have landed after my. I would never have spent my rocket punch and not committed into
not done something
either
with it.
Engaging with it or flying up to high ground with it and try to use it for some mobility. I would not have wasted it by just punching and then doing nothing with it. This is fine. Okay, you punch this guy with the ult. Sure. You line this up. Your team is kind of pushing. You're following up. Not bad, except there wasn't any. What's it called? There wasn't any walls. You're forced to ult here. He just does this.
Yeah, he just lets me kill him, I guess. Yeah.
Then you also waste your slam now. There was no reason to go to this mega, right? You could just punch back out. This is your team. This is the Rhine. He's just lined up with these nice little crates here. You could just punch them, right? Uppercut and kill them, right? Again, situation. What is the situation now? There's 2 players alive, and your entire team is here, right? Kill these guys, right? Don't go for them. Right, peek here. Your healers are here, right? Why are you going over here? Wasting slam, right?
Thank you.
No reason.
Yeah.
Oops. We go. Yeah, for some reason, you decide to try to kill the Moira instead of the Rhine, who sees this kill. The flying Moira that has auto heal and all kinds of shit. Or the big clunky Rhine that can't do shit, right? Kill the Rhine, he's easiest, right?
Yeah.
I assume that you missed that.
Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah. Then you're going back in. You uppercut some stuff. Okay, you slam here. You're playing this thing. You missed that somehow. Lining this up really, right? Missing all the shots. And then after this, right? So you can see how you had a really good situation. You rotated out of the situation again. Disengaged. Re-engaged the wrong target. And then you kind of just were tunnel visioning on targets with difficult to kill. And from the position that you put yourself in, there was not really much you could do anymore.
Yeah, like I was gonna like chase the ball or the Moira. It was stupid. I should have just killed the Rhine.
You should kill the Rhine and play from there, right? And again, especially if you could have killed the Rhine and then looked for some setups. And that could be anything from being on top of the payload, like when it's here, it's still like a really good slam platform, right?
Okay.
But playing like here, the only thing you can do from this angle is like trying to land a punch.
Yeah, exactly.
And then hopefully you can get something done with a slam and an uppercut. But your slam and uppercut is really useless because you're playing low guard, so it's like you hit fully charged punches at this point, or you don't hit anything at all. Right?
Exactly.
And you just line them up with all the furniture that's around, and there's actually not that much. It's a really open point, and it's relatively there's limited amount of angles that you can play. This was actually pretty nice. You engage that with a slam, which is ballsy, but your team engaged, so it doesn't matter, right? Right? Even though you burned absolutely everything here on that engage, and you got practically no value. Notice that nobody punished you because your team is fucking going ape shit engage here, and they're just running at them, right? And what do the enemy team do? Everybody is looking at this guy, right? Don't care about you. You're not important at this point, right? So you can do whatever you want from this position, right? The power of your team being there, right? You missed that stuff, whatever. I would have, yeah, then you get barraged, which is unlucky.
You would have played a corner there?
I think I would have tried to punch him off the map.
Oh, he doesn't get moved anymore.
He does when he's not in hammer, when he has his hammer out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Steadfast buff only works when he's shielding.
Oh, okay.
You go in here, you're chasing this kill. Like, somehow he peeks you, which is nice for you, I suppose. Right? But if not, then logically, right, you could have killed this guy as well, right? If you think for some reason, like, if he had always been running away from your corners, right, then this, right, it's the perfect lineup, right?
This is a perfect slam. Wonder if I slam.
Yeah, right? You can just see it in your head, right? That you can just line it up, and you did an uppercut for some reason. and therefore missed the Lucio kill.
Good point. Yeah.
I don't know why you didn't uppercut.
I don't know either.
Lined it up, nice, right? Peek the corner with your punch.
Why did I not uppercut her earlier? What am I doing?
Right, and then you joke a little bit, and then you get this right.
Nice. I could have just
right,
uppercutted the
Mei,
for example,
right? Here you've been playing it really well with your punches, right? You've been lining them up, except that one Lucio, which didn't get that much value, but you're keeping away from the point at least, right? Here you are at least lining them up with the walls, right? You're lining up your punches with walls and corners, and therefore you got a lot of frags out of it, which is really good. I'm not sure what you're doing now.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on.
You also dropped from high ground there. You could have stamped from the high ground instead of stamped from stairs. Or mid jump down from stairs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. 5, 4, 3,
so if you were to like give me a saving grace, like, because remember I said I felt like I carried and then I felt like I got countered by their McCree, and you were like, no, you were just feeding.
What do you mean by a saving grace?
Like, one thing I noticed that, like, you could say, well, Lucid, one thing I noticed that you're good at is this, this, and this, or whatever. Like, for a gold player, you're good at this.
Weren't you like 2.8k peak? Isn't this smurfing?
It's not smurfing because, and I'll tell you why. I'm not trying to argue. I'm just saying it's not smurfing because I placed on this account and I've been trying in every game. So this is a real rank that I can get to right now. But yes, 2800 as of like a week ago.
Yeah, but then this is smurfing, right? Because you place lower than you normally always play lower, right?
Yeah,
you don't see 4.8k players placing 4.8k, right? They place in like Masters and BS. Sometimes they play GM, right?
Okay, yeah.
On fresh accounts.
Okay,
right?
Then for a 2800 player, you're bad at this and you're good at this.
Right? Again, your majority of your issue, there's some mechanical stuff, which is to be expected at this point, right? You do land majority of your combos. And if it was gold, this would be amazing, right? You're hitting majority of your follow-up shots and uppercut combos, which is more than what I can say for some diamond players, right? You're hitting the slams. In majority of your situation, you're missing some of them, but you're hitting a lot of your punches. Mechanically, as a doomfist player, you're pretty good. But you don't do rollouts at any of the locations, so you don't, which is pretty big, and you don't play any of your good high grounds.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So you almost always play low grounds, and then and I also saw that on your stream, your chat banned.
Always.
For 4 days because of a report for abusive chat.
Always, yeah.
Yeah. Number one, you shouldn't be toxic because you're just going to make your team throw. Like, you're just going to tilt the living shit out of your team, and that doesn't help, right?
I noticed, yeah.
And two, you are... I would say it's like the stereotypical solo queue player where it's like, I blame my team because they're shit, but at the same time, I'm solo engaging the entire enemy team when you guys are respawning.
Okay, yeah.
Right? You're not looking at what your team is doing. Your team is like getting pushed and slammed and bullied by Hammond and a Reaper, and you're like, why is nobody engaging? They weren't bullying me, right? And you're a Doomfist player. You can jump around them. You weren't remotely close to being impacted by them, right? So a lot of time you get a pick, which is great, and you notice, you're like, oh, I go here, I see this guy, I know I can kill him, and then you engage him and you get the kill. And almost all the time when you are playing a high ground and you see somebody, you normally always get the kill, which is great.
But I'm very rarely on high ground.
But then your team just dies, and they die because you're not helping them. You're not doing anything, because then you decide again to run into hotel for some weird reason and flank around the enemy side and just run around in their spawn for half an hour, right? And then you get pushed by the tanks, and then they win.
I get the kill, and then I'm like, I'm gonna go make a quesadilla or something.
Right? Yeah. You get one frag, and then you're like, okay, I did my job now. When this team fight for me, and then you don't help them, and then you're not carrying. That's not carrying. Okay. Carrying is, I got one kill and I got out, and now I got 4 more, right? I killed their support, and then I went back. I beat the living shit out of their tank because they were pushing mine. Then I rotated back in. I killed the sniper, and now I'm spawn camping, right? Like, that is carrying,
okay.
Right? You are impacting everything. The main group, the supports, the PC, everything. If the enemy team doesn't misplay, you're there and you're fucking beating them up. If your team is feeding their ass off and overcommitting to a push,
then I overcommit.
You are there to be like, you guys are feeding, but I'm going to capitalize on that feed because I know my Ryan charged, I'll follow up. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? And a lot of it is done by game sense, and a lot of it is done by mentality, and the third is just general positioning. You're playing really poorly, and you're putting yourself in really poor situations a lot of the time,
Mm-hmm.
and not focusing on the big picture, right? A really good question to always ask yourself, right? And that's kind of like what's going on here is where's the enemy team, right? Or where will they be, right? So they'll be pushing like that, right? Where's my team gonna be? It's gold, so they always hold close to choke, right? They
Yes.
always do this 900% of the time. Where's the fight gonna happen?
Yeah, right where the Rhine is, basically.
Right here, right?
Yeah.
So you setting up here, unless you're planning to punch your way over here, which you're not, because I know what you're gonna do, then why are you here? Right? You know where the fight is gonna happen? You need to be in a position where you can do as much damage as possible here, right? As not in physical damage, as like impact on carrying, right? That means you need to be able to reach targets. You need to be able to get off, high effective slams, hopefully without burning too many resources yourself, right? So if you can avoid spending a punch, it's super nice because then you can, change it onto a kill or disengage with it,
Yeah.
right? If you can line up those stuff, then you're really good, right? So at that point, why are you back here, right? Unless you're deciding to roll out from this position,
Well,
which you're not.
I'm just worried about being on the low ground. I just want to be on high ground.
Yeah, there's a high ground here, and there's a high ground here, and there's a high ground here.
Oh, good point.
Right?
Oh well,
There's a bunch of high grounds.
the middle one's super exposed. If they have a sniper, I'm dead immediately.
Yeah, this one is exposed, sure, right? But it's still here,
Yeah.
right? Potential statue, even though it's a really unorthodox one, and normally spent to. It's mostly like a midterm fight one that some people like to use, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Bunch of high grounds, right? If not, like you get pushed on maps where this high ground is exposed, I can't help there, then you're forced to roll out. And that's what angles like this and angles like this is for, right? Where you can fly from these different angles and you can engage, right? And you can do that if you want to, right? Or even here, right? Because you have time to set up, so you can play from this angle, right? All these three angles are really powerful,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you can't keep the LOS, right? But it's cool. You can probably just stand like here.
So you said a good question to ask is basically where's the fight gonna happen and where can I be
Yeah,
effective?
where's the enemy team, right? Because you need to know where is my targets that I can kill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the backline, where's the front, right? So you need to know where's the enemy team gonna be, right? In our example, where's they gonna push on offense, then you ask where they're gonna defend, right?
And if there's an outlier, it's not my job to chase them if they're faster than me, like a tracer or like a.
Yeah, a lot of time not, right? Again, who do you want to kill? 5 players or one, right?
Yeah.
Why are you spending time running after somebody when you can instead be fucking up their main group? What is that one lone tracer gonna do after you killed his entire team? What is he gonna do about it? Right? Is he gonna engage you guys 5v1v6? Right? He can't do shit. Right?
Yeah.
If he's busy teaming, if he jumps in front of you, punch him, shoot him. Right? If he's right next to you, kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do something, but don't run after the guy. Right? Because he'll just see you later. Right? And just disengage you. Right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
okay, now you're wasting a bunch of time running after a motherfucker instead of fucking up the team. Right? So you gotta ask where's the enemy team gonna be all the time. Right? Then where your targets are. Who can I kill? Where are they? Where's my team? Because as we just talked about, you need them to take away attention from you.
Yes.
At least, right? To keep pressure on the enemy team so you don't get turned around and so there's no abilities to outplay, right? Why makes this more difficult than it has to be? Kill the easiest target on the team, don't brute force a guy in a 1v2, right? Too much effort. Too much.
And tilting my team doesn't help me because then they won't want to give me attention. They won't want to
Well,
drag
not even
attention
that.
down.
Like even high heroes will try, but if the guy is focused on this piece of shit guy who's fucking trash talking in chat, even though there's nothing I can do about it, right? Especially if you're losing already, nobody want to hear somebody tell them how bad they are
Yeah.
when they're already losing, right? And even if they are playing really bad, nobody gets more. It doesn't help with their. If they're already playing really bad, they're already doubting themselves. Hearing their team call them trash will just make them play worse because they'll doubt themselves and they'll be too much focus having an argument with you, and too little time actually focusing on maybe doing something in the game, and you're spending too much time being mad at your team and too little time actually focusing on yourself.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't help. Getting mad doesn't help. It's not gonna fix anything. So why get mad? Right? GG, go next. Unlucky game, right? Focus on yourself. Nobody cares. And
Okay.
nobody's worth getting mad about. If you play with a bad team, you play with a bad team. It happens. I have lost 3 placement games on my fucking tank. There's nothing I could do about those games. Probably there was, but I'm telling myself there wasn't that much I could do about those games. It was unlucky. I was playing we're playing 2 off-tank players into like a main tank main, right? Beating the living shit out of me, right? Cool, right? Not much that I could do there.
Mm-hmm.
I lost, no need to get mad, GG, well played, go next. Right? On top of that, like this emote check is fine, but like you should at least use it for what it's worth and actually check the entire corner, right?
Oh, I do. You can't see it in the replay.
Okay. You can't? Okay.
Yeah, I noticed that
Sure.
when I was watching the replay back.
Yeah, okay. Sure. Then check on the entire corner. Right? And this is the thing. I thought you were going to slam here. Oh, okay, you are. Never mind. Then it's later that you don't. This is fine. You could have disengaged your high ground if you want to. Whatever.
That's a good point. I'm giving the enemy way too much respect. Like, I can stand there because there's a shield in front, right?
Yeah. Well, where's there?
My Ryan is there, so I can jump to high ground.
Yeah, and you can jump. There's also a statue in the way, right? So you can do there, and you can also jump to this high ground, and you can also fly further back. Yeah. You can also fly up here if you have really good position, right?
Yeah.
Sure, you can go to all those, right? And if they shoot you, there's not really much I can one-tap here, right? So who cares, right? They're doing this. I'm not sure why. I know they want this angle, right? But instead of doing that, right, you could just have like done this, right, and then you're there, right, and then you would never have lost connection with your team. So in case they got pushed, like now, and you're not still there, right, because you're mid rotation, right? If they get pushed, a second ago or 2 seconds ago, right, then you could still do a follow up on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't lose activity here, right? Then you do this, which is ballsy at best,
and
feeding
stupid.
at worst.
Yeah.
Right?
Stupid.
You didn't check your angle. You have no clue what the fuck is going on, and there wasn't any walls. So why did you punch when there's nothing to get followed?
Just ult charge.
You're winning right now. They're not pushing. You're winning. Don't waste it, right? Just set up. Wait until they push for the choke. Where's the enemy team gonna be? Where's my team gonna be? Where's the fight gonna happen? The fight's gonna happen here. The fight's not over here, right? So don't engage there. Wait here, do a setup, and then when they try to push, then you win. And then do this again and again and again, right? On top of that, I would want you to slam to that high ground if possible, so you could just play that high ground.
Even with the Pharah?
Yeah, what the Pharah gonna do? She was there. You hit her with the slam, you shoot her a couple times, she flies away.
Okay.
Right? Worst case scenario, you land here and you drop down, you get healed by a team.
But at least I tried to take high ground, yeah.
You take high ground, and again, the Pharah was on the high ground. You slam her, you hit her, you might kill her. And if she disengages, then she disengaged. Right? And then she's low, and then she needs to get healed. And from that time, you can play a little bit up here and stop this push from ever happening. With effect. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead, you're forced to rotate through hotel. Now you're not helping, now you're not helping, now you're not helping, now you're not helping, not helping. Not... You failed that punch, and you didn't even fully charge it. Right? So, there wasn't really any reason to punch this. Now you picked this. For no reason. Right? Instead of setting up and looking for something that could be effective, right? Like a setup or dive or slam or punch, right? You get hit by the fire, you're a little bit low, you're getting healed. You're gonna peek here, you're gonna slam. That's pretty nice slam. Nice, right? Notice how that forced out abilities, right? Forced out the fade, forced out this guy's grasp, right? That's 2 abilities out that normally wouldn't been out if you didn't hit that slam combo, right?
Yes.
Really good stuff, right? Notice the guy here. Yeah, I continuously tab out of you. There we go. This is fine. Okay, you tried to land the punch, you didn't land it fully. Sure. I thought, and this is like this small doomfist ring, right? Like if you go on the stairs, you can slam with a little bit more damage. So I thought you were actually going to slam here, but you punched anyway.
Yeah, that's a good little.
The only thing I would like, try to get the full punch off, so you actually get the 1 taps, right? Fuck.
Yeah, full punch plus 1 tap on a 200 HP hero, right?
Yeah. If you fully charge and hit the wall, yeah, 1 tap them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is great. Now, this is where Pharah is pretty bullshit and not fun to play against anymore, and that's why I don't play Doomfist against Pharahs. But you still managed to make it work somehow, right? You get over here. I would have liked you to use your space to cancel, so you flew around the corner, so slowly pushing around the corner, whatever. And then you drop.
No,
and then you don't drop.
Right?
And then you don't drop. And then you drop again. And then you land here. And I don't understand what's going on here, right? And then you don't take high grounds again. Why are you not setting up? Why are you not preparing? Why are you going hotel? Right? Right? Just set up. Right? Get a setup going, right? Now, yeah, sure, right? Sure, you can punch somebody into this pillar. And that's like the thing that you can do from this swing, right? But you can't get value out of slam as much. And you can still one-shot people through pillars if you go like to one of these high grounds and you just like land here. Or like if you're here, you can do the exact same thing, just you also can slam, right? So this position right here gives you all these benefits plus more, right?
Yeah.
So play there,
Yeah.
right? Much more effective, right? You have more options in your arsenal. Then you miss, then you uppercut, okay, whatever. Then you're stuck here. You're trying to charge another one. You miss that one again. You can cancel these if you want to. So you
Wait,
don't
just
fly in front of
left clicking, right?
yeah, just left clicking. So you don't fly in front of the enemy team. You hit the Reaper here, and now this fight is lost. Knows how much space they have, no much how little you have, right? And this is lost. You die here, and now it's lost, right? They were left with a choke. Instead, if you had a setup, you could potentially slam, right? And you could have waited it out. You would also have much better overview. So instead of having to blindly react to it, you could just sit here and kind of like watch as they were pushing it, right? So you would have some overview for your situation.
Yeah, that's good.
You're going in here, you're a little bit fast. But whatever you hit slam combo, you're gonna ult here, sure. I like it. Right, you waste fade, fuck her up. Good, good, good. I would like you to hit all your shots there, and then she would have died. You didn't do your cancel. You should have died there because of it. You didn't. There's a Reaper there. You engage like this. See, you don't have abilities. This is the situation. You saw the situation. Why did you engage?
As I felt like it was the best thing I could do. Like, obviously, I'm not going to chase the Reaper because he.
Yeah, but you disengaged. Sure, right? You were low. You fucked up. So again, you were forced into a bad situation in the beginning. Okay, so that's already bad. You should try not to get in that situation, right? We both agree on that.
Yes.
But sure, you did engage here up here a little bit wrong. Sure, you get the Reaper teleports. Shit, you disengage him. Sure, why didn't you just land here instead, and
Good.
then wait for cooldowns and then play from there?
Very good.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of engaging into a suicide mission.
Yeah.
With no abilities, you don't even have uppercut. So like the 1-2 combo is now a 1 combo, right? There's no follow up on this, right? And you die. And look at this. You have players now.
And now team is happening.
Right?
Team fight is happening.
Right? Imagine if you could engage this and that and this guy, right? That's 3 fucking free kills right here. At least these 2. Right? These fucking 3. Right? And the team is they're here, right? There were players here. There was 2 supports, a tank, there was a Junkrat, right? You know, right? Your Junkrat almost have tire, right? This could have been a 1, right? You could have won this. But no. Right? Because you didn't play long game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, you gotta use your abilities, and then you gotta try to get value, and then you gotta set up, or at least wait for abilities by playing a corner, and do it again. And
Okay.
repeat. And
Okay.
repeat. And repeat. Right? Yeah. Now you're playing here, you're gonna crouch rock. This is fine, right? Just don't get caught, but this is fine, right? You're doing a setup now at this point. Right? So now you're setting up, preparing for the next fight. That's great. Right? The team is here, you can see this, you have 3 bad spawns and 2 good ones. These 2 goods are probably gonna die.
Oh yeah, I
right?
didn't
But
notice
at least
that.
you're setting up at this point, right? You're setting up, and this is fine. Right? You're scouting a little bit, right? Now all you need is not to feed, like this, right? Now you're stuck on low ground. You had a really good angle, right? You were setting up. You could have played this angle, right? Notice how many players that's here now. Right?
So I should have been
setting up, winning the next fight, not solo engaging 4 players and hoping for the best.
okay.
Right?
So like if I were to draw on the screen, it's kind of where like I can't do it, but kind of where Bibby's looking, right? That's where I should have been looking for the next fight to happen.
For example, right? You gotta look. You know, the next fight is most likely happening right around this corner right here.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you were here, then you had access to backline, for example, right?
But engaging early, I engaged way too early there.
What happens if you get a pick here? Okay, cool. You got a pick, and then what?
I have to
They
disengage.
get respawn and he come back. He comes back, right? Right? You get a pick here. Even if you played in a coordinated team, you would say, I got a pick. And the team would say, we should push this, but your team is here. And the enemy team would say, they got a pick. Let's just wait until they push and then we bars and blast them, right? Even if you get a pick here, what does it accomplish? Nothing. They get respawns. The guy respawns. His spawn is like here. They know you're behind them now. And that's it. you got nothing. Your team doesn't push. There's no capitalization. You didn't get a pick and win the team fight because there's no team fight happening. Because the team fight is happening at best like here.
Good point. So then, should I keep crouch walking and like rotate
Yeah.
around?
Yeah. You just crouch walking and waiting. You know where the team fight is happening, right? Approximately here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to be able to be active around that team fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what you're looking for. So you can wait for the setup.
Got it.
Right? But then you need to wait. Right? Or if you don't want to do that, then you rotate back to your team. But this, on the other hand, and then you're standing here and taking unnecessary. Like, why are you peeking this guy? You're not right. And this, I know your team is fighting, and you're kind of here, and you're waiting, and that's a signal that you could have followed on. Okay. Now we're here. Now we can fight. Yes, now we're fighting, right? And that took ages.
Yeah.
Right? And at this time, the enemy team has been allowed to do a lot of damage. Luckily, your team seems to be able to manage to do something about it. That's a barrage. You ult to save yourself, but it's silenced. Yeah, you're going to disengage this, which is nice. And then you're going to hide and try not to die. This is fine. You're going to play some high ground now. And now your next mind should be, can we contest? If you can contest, then you want to be able to follow up on that contest, right? So you need to do a setup if you can contest. Doesn't look like you. I'm not sure if your team is going to contest. Doesn't look like it. Team is not going to contest. Okay, but then they're going to play the corner instead, right? So you need to be able to follow up on the corner. Right? You drop from high ground. Wasn't really much reason to drop on that high ground. Then you slam this guy into the wall. You do some damage. Pretty nice. You go back to your team. You try to help with the blossom. Sure. And then, yeah, your team charges and dies. That's an unlucky fight, right? Those are the fights that they just win. Mm-hmm. They got a blossom off, got 2. Then they signal, got 2. Okay, GG, right? It's all the other fights in between there that should not have been impact, right? Sometimes you will lose some fights, and that's fine. But losing all of them, or like losing the ones that should have been winnable, that's the issue.
Yeah.
You missed that punch, which is kind of sad, because that could have been a knockoff of the map. You're going to slam in here. You're going to fuck that one up. You're going to re-engage into Ryan. Sure. Right? Help kill the easy guy, right? You can cancel. Sure. I'm not sure what's going on here.
2 people are failing to kill Orion. 3 people.
And then you're Orion pushed and all kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you get barrage. That's unlucky. And now they're going to cap. Right? And again, if you had been further up, you might have been able to do something about this. Right? Maybe stop the flare from barraging. Maybe do something else. Right? Maybe not spend that much time on Orion that was going to get killed anyway. Right? Because he was stuck in the backline.
Mm-hmm.
Right? One player versus a bunch. Right? It depends on how fast you could kill him. Right? If you could hit the bunch and you could actually knock him into a wall, then you can burn him. Right? Then punch, slam, and uppercut, and then you shoot him a little bit, and then dies. Right? If you can't land those, then you're burning too much time on a player that can't get killed anyway.
Perfect.
Okay. Oh, we are like 30 minutes over time. Sure. Any questions?
No. I have a lot to focus on. Thank you so much.
No problem.